At the recent London Fashion Awards, Vogue editor Sarah Moore said young designers suffer in the UK because of the lack of opportunities resulting from the UK's conservative government's 13-year reign. They say culture thrives in the UK because they have a tradition of dissent, but in the US, not so much. We have dissent, but it all seems to be underground. In the UK, there's always been a strong sentiment of freedom of thought and of being a rebel. It's just part of the social fabric. If you remember, our country was founded by a bunch of Brits. The Brits didn't change, but the government did when it began to see its own people as the enemy. Yes, we can see culture as oppressed by the Conservative Party, but that's just one way of looking at it. It's more likely the result of rebels losing their nerve. A government assistance program can be a replacement for nerve, grit, and a little rebellion, but does anyone want to live in that world? Welcome. Welcome to Conservative Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. Many of us kind of see ourselves as a bit of a rebel all of a sudden, but in a kind, passive, peaceful way. Few of us want to truly rock the boat. But unfortunately, that's the position we seem to be in, almost by default. Antifa, BML, and the Palestine Liberation Group are all lifted up as rebel voices that must be heard. But that's only because they have no chance of actually getting anywhere. It's controlled opposition. But we, the people, it's another story. We have the huge potential of being a gateway to the expression of power, freedom of thought. But we don't hear that. We don't hear that concept lifted up too much. Actually, we hear the opposite. We hear that we're pretty much wrong about everything. And even that is telling. Vegas odds would tell you that we could be right about something. We can't be wrong about everything. But somehow, this card is always played, and the government always seems to be the winner for disempowering us, dismissing us, and subjugating us. We're all trying to find standing in a system that doesn't even recognize us. We started out as a rebellious people governed by a rebellious lot, and somehow we ended up as a peaceful, law-abiding people governed by a tyrannical government. Perhaps we should follow Sarah Mower's lead and rail against the government, no matter which party is in office. About 10 years ago, I ran into a lovely couple from the UK at a local breakfast place. They were an older married couple traveling the US on vacation. When I asked them, how are things in the UK, they seemed startled. And they asked me, well, do you mean how are things or how are things? And I said, well, how are things? And they said, terrible. They said both political parties are corrupt and they're both trying to outspend and get all they can as fast as they can before the entire system blows up. I was like, holy crap, that sounds really, really bad. In the 2008 election, people came into the polling place and were happily issued a ballot. And about 5-6 seconds later, they would emerge from the voting booth to announce they were done. I was like, well, would you maybe like to vote for any of the other people or offices on the ballot? And they were like, no, I just came in to vote for Obama. They were so proud of that. We all want a quick fix and we all want to rush in and make the grand gesture. But is that really what we're being called to do? Or is that what got us here in the first place? Participating at the bare minimum and not being engaged. For those of us who are engaged, we're forming assemblies across the nation and in the state, and others are forming groups in homes and in private, invitation only venues. We're finding standing by meeting up with others and going underground, and then emerging as the assembly, championing election integrity, and by simply not following the party line anymore. We don't need everyone. We just need a few of us, to be faithful to the end. And we can do that together. If you would like to join us at Conservative Coffee Hour is every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.